Alrighty then, welcome back to J&J Mondays on a Sunday. I'm J77, minus Johnson. I do have my other co-host Kat with me from the UK. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. We just got nice cold weather that we have gotten. It is, actually warm now, but in the last few days, if you didn't dress for this weather, you can feel it. This is officially fall weather for New York. I'm at, of course, a nice warm spot in the cafe in the Bronx via thanks to our nice friend at Starbucks. And we got a little bit of a change in plans because Johnson's not here. Our top five, our top three list, I'd like to call it, will be pushed back to next week. Joshkin did a show that wore her out. I'm kind of curious what the show is now. I'm going to be looking for it now because it sounded like she was doing a long podcast that pretty much, was more than she probably could handle. But then again, Joshkin does have a lot of stuff she does during her spare time, and they're great stuff to check out our channel. But that doesn't mean we don't have stuff to talk about. One, we got a franchise that's been announced that has been old. Many people say it is dead, or some people saying they just want to take their time, which they should have done in the beginning with, make standalone movies. Either way, it is getting the buzz it is, and I'm talking about the Dark Universe. Um, you know what I'm talking about. If you've seen The Mummy or you haven't seen The Mummy, this is pretty much the reaction of that one film. We're also going to have a movie review, a movie that is hasn't gotten many releases, and if it did, it was very small, similar to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side Dimensions, which was released through word of mouth and was released in a very limited theaters, which I actually had the chance to see via DVD. We're talking about the rebooted, if in case you guys haven't know, the Pokemon movie, which I'm not gonna give a review, but Kat, who saw it in theaters and in the UK, will give the review, and I'm kind of curious as to what that is. And we're gonna be talking about some stuff that's happening in Hollywood, and how it's going to be affecting not only the U.S. but the film industry as well as what's going on in the U.K. because this is very serious, and there are allegations of harassment towards the female actresses made by legendary actors as well as producers. Harvey Weinstein ain't the only one who's feeling the burn, and my feeling is how much of this is actually true versus some stuff that is actually looking to cash in because of the star status. So we'll dive in a little bit on that. But it is entertainment. And before we get started, Kat, how was your week?
Um, I actually spent the rest of the week after Monday with a cold, so I've just
Ooh,
been. Yeah, it was worth it to go and see Pokemon though, so I can't complain. I've
is
just
it
been bundled
freezing in
up
the
in bed
UK
all
or
week.
is it
Yeah,
freezing in the UK or just is mixed weather that you guys getting?
it's mostly been mixed weather. It was like raining yesterday, so it can't be that cold.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting because we've been getting 22 degrees, 20-degree weather, and in some cases it is feeling the cold. We haven't got the wind chill factor, so it hasn't been extremely cold. But it is one of those weathers that you got to be very careful with because like many of the weathers we'll be getting cold for a few days, and it becomes warm, then it becomes spring-like weather, and that's where you get sick the most. Luckily, I haven't got sick yet, so I'm knocking on wood. But a lot of people in my job did. So,
Lucky.
we're gonna touch into the Dark Universe and everything else later. But I want to get your feeling. I want to start off with your review of Pokemon Catch 'em All. Gentlemen, ladies who was watching this podcast, either from YouTube or from the our friends at Mad Expression, there was actually a release, a limited release of a new Pokemon movie, the 20th, which I didn't even know they made that far. I'm wondering if they're counting the 1 hour specials along with that. But there is now the 20th, and this is a movie that is rebooted. They went back to the beginning, from what I understand. And I
I
saw the
can
trailer.
tell you it is officially timeline. Hang on, let me just find the exact wording. Um, da, 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 da. this movie is set in a parallel world that is split off from the main series. So
So basically,
effectively an alternate timeline.
So basically, did what Star Trek did. Without trying to say we ain't rebooting it, we're just doing what if scenarios. But anyway, Pokemon have gotten a new jumpstart for the newer generation, and the question is, at least in theater form, is it good or was it even worth the admission? Now, I'm not gonna
It was
say how this is.
£13. It better have been the admission. It was £13, which is only £2 more than normal. Normal 2-month long tickets,
Oh,
but
really?
whatever. Yeah.
hmm
Our stuff was
Well,
expensive.
well, now the question is it worth those pounds? Well, first off, Miss, I'm going to leave it right up to Kat because she's going to explain this movie. I will ask a few questions, and we're going to go by the old star system, which is from 0 to 4 stars. I don't do that 5 star because that's a popularity thing. I do count half the stars as well. But this will be mostly from Kat because she saw it in theaters. She had the privilege of the experience of seeing it in the big screen, which I know a lot of us in the U.S. May not have actually seen, and that's largely because one, the U.S. have a policy of releasing limited releases of animation films to certain select theaters, basically becoming an artsy thing, indie review thing, because um, Japanese animation, when it's dubbed, don't really translate well, and it turns off a lot of the diehard anime fans who feels they might as well just get it as a Japanese version to get the real taste, the unedited raw feeling. Now I don't know how this does with the UK. Obviously, they dub from there, similar to the US. But the question is, how was the movie storyline was? What was the movie's about? How did they differ from the TV version? From our heroes, from whatever island they're in.
Okay. Ash never meets Misty. He runs away from the Spearow on foot. And that's basically the only real difference there. I'm still trying to decide like how spoilery I want to be, or whether or whether I want the spoilers to be in a but later section. I'm thinking.
we Hello?
Yeah.
I couldn't get. You faded right out when you were saying stuff, so I don't know what. Check the connection because you faded right out real quickly.
Sorry. Am I
Okay.
coming through loud and clear now?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, what was the story about? I'm curious.
Basically, Ash gets away from the Spearow on foot by himself with Pikachu. And he gets this Ho-Oh feather, which obviously doesn't happen in the TV show, and he basically becomes what is known as the Rainbow Hero.
Really?
That's fine. That's cool. I don't know what my browser's doing. My browser's freaking me out. Stop jumping the page about. I'm not. I'm just gonna keep my hand right here. So the basic gist of the story is he gets this feather off of Ho-Oh, and then he goes off to find Ho-Oh to be able to battle it.
Okay, so basically what it is they're taking a whole different direction. He's not going to town, meeting new friends and battling Pokemon. He's actually focusing on one Pokemon.
He does go on his journey, but they skip over a lot of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So basically, they just said, forget about the TV show. We're gonna just do something. We're just gonna go to the juicy parts and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, without going too deep into the story, obviously they had Team Rocket there. You can't have Pokemon without Team Rocket. I don't care who they cut out. They gotta have Team Rocket. How did this Team Rocket differ from the TV show?
I think in all they had like 2 or 3 minutes of screen time. They were basically just there for comic relief,
That's
which I
it?
find, yeah.
Are you
They
telling me
didn't
Team
even
Rocket?
try to steal Pikachu. They
So,
were like introduced as a wanted poster, and then ran after Ash and Pikachu. But they never interfered. They never laid traps. They did interact with like some of the events, but they were never interacted with. If that makes
wait a
sense.
minute.
Like Ash
Hold on one
never
second. You're
said, "Oh
telling
my
me.
God, it's Team Rocket." That never happened. I
So let me get this
watched
straight.
like what happened in
We
movie
don't.
3, and
Wait.
and
Are you telling me? Hold on. They got rid of Misty. They don't have. They don't have Brock. Team Rocket is not even a main factor in this movie. Did he have any arch enemies in this movie?
yes.
Okay. Who's this new enemy?
Okay. Probably sort of maybe going into spoiler territory because I'm not sure if this was ever shown in any of the adverts. But they changed who Charmander's original trainer was. In the TV show it was Damien. Here it was a guy named Cross, and he was the main arch rival for the movie. And he was
Oh,
a
really?
jerk. He was a friggin' jerk.
Was he that kind of trainer, like similar to the one that Ash lost to a couple of times in the series?
I have no idea. He was the kind of guy that thought, well, if you make friends with your Pokemon, they're just gonna be weak. You have to have strong Pokemon, and you have to push them beyond their limits and stuff.
No, it was the Kaiba of the team.
Yeah.
That sounds like Septic Kaiba almost. All right, so obviously they this is definitely a different Pokemon series. Um, what was the Pokemon? Obviously, he has Pikachu. What other Pokemon did Ash has? Although, or was it just Pikachu and that was it?
He has Pikachu. He gets the Charmander, which does evolve into Charmeleon and Charizard. Plus, he also catches the Caterpie, which also does evolve into Butterfree. So he basically just has those three. I don't even think he gets his Pidgeot, which is weird, but whatever.
All right, so obviously, well, Mike, we ain't gonna go touch the ending here because obviously that would be too much here. But I might as well ask. The animation, was it movie quality or was it just something similar to the TV show? 'Cause that was my main gripe right with some of the movies is that they came on theaters and it didn't feel like I was watching a movie, but actually an extended episode of Pokemon. Was this different in this version?
Yes, it was very much sort of I kind of want to say upgraded, but kept like close enough to the original style. Like you could easily tell it was Ash, and everything like looked as it should. And the
Hmm.
camera work was just absolutely beautiful, and the backgrounds were just stunning, and I'm pretty sure there was like some CG in there, but honestly, I was just so enthralled I couldn't really tell. Most of this was me blinded by nostalgia, but I have had 5 days to think over this, so I should be fine now.
Hmm. And pacing, how was it?
I thought it was perfect.
How
I
long was
don't
the
have
movie?
any. About an hour and a half, I want to say.
Okay.
I
So
wasn't keeping track of the time.
it's all right. I will say about this: the dialogue. There's always been an issue with these Japanese being converted to speak the English dub. First of all, was this a 4K production or was it
That's a
totally
good
different?
question. Uh, I don't recall seeing the 4Kids logo, so I'm not entirely sure. Just to be on the safe side, because I don't trust my memory, I'm going to say no, but if I'm incorrect, someone please correct me.
How was the dialogue? Did it sound too clunky? Was it more mature? Did it speak down to the audience, or was it passable?
Um, well, in terms of quality, because like me being partially hearing, I usually can't hear the crap when I'm in a theatre. I heard 95% of the dialogue, and I was kept I was kept totally engaged, and I was really pleased with that. In terms of like how it like spoke to the audience, I was very very pleased with the fact that unlike with the first episode, Ash knew things like, oh, that's a Pidgey, oh, that's a Spearow, oh, I have to actually battle a Pokemon before I can capture it. And instead
So in other
of
words,
having
they
the
didn't dumb down the
Pokédex.
character.
No,
They didn't.
I think he was very well fleshed out here, honestly. And I mean,
Okay, that's a relief.
they yeah, and they did like say like some moments like oh he should probably do this, but it wasn't like overbearing. I really didn't notice all that much of it, and I just really really liked that. There
Okay.
were some mature themes, like in terms of like being dramatic and stuff, but that's just how the films are.
So I guess the thing I want to know is that how was the discount Ash and Brock in this show? Because obviously they were replaced by two different characters that people do not like for reasons that I think is not surprising. But how was they on their own? Did they actually feel like their own different characters, or were they just basically discount Brock and Misty?
They were their own characters. I um um I didn't expect to like them. Um, I mean, the discount Brock, whose name is Sorrel and not Zorro, because my hearing's bad
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't tell through the accent. Um, the first few lines that he said, I thought it was a bit snobby, but he he really grew on me, and I had absolutely no problem with Verity.
Did they give him
I ended up
eyes at
really like
least?
them.
Does he have eyes? I'm
Did they
asking because
have
number one,
eyes?
because that was no. I'm asking because number one, Brock never had it. It looked like Brock was blind, or he just didn't bother opening his eyes when he was speaking. That always bothered me.
That would have been because Ash and all the others were made to look American, and and Brock were, were sort of like done like sort of Eastern style, so that's why they did that. At least that's what I heard.
Stereotype.
Yeah, basically, yeah, they're stereotyping Americans in themselves. But yeah, Sorrel did have eyes.
Okay, let's at least they fixed that problem. All right. Overall, what is it that you what's the criticism of this film? What is it that you did not like what they did in this movie?
Let me go to my spoiler section. Um, uh, the amount I cried. Honestly, just the amount I cried.
Mhm.
Um,
I can already tell what that
mainly
is.
out
That
of
that
nostalgia.
I
um,
know what that is. I know people who got beat up a little bit in this movie.
okay. Apparently, the one thing that I have written that I was disappointed by was they're saying "Go Pokeball" instead of "Pokeball Go." That was really the only thing that bugged me. Otherwise, I was fine with all the rest of it.
Okay. All right, so I guess the thing is because I don't want to put too much pressure on you if you want to keep that going. Here's the thing. How many stars you give this movie? If you actually give it a fair judgment, what would be out of 1 to 4? Would you give it?
Uh,
And just for the record, I believe when I checked the ratings thing, is in the cuss. It's not like it has a terrible rating, but it doesn't have an explosive rating. It actually has a 52 to 49. So it's pretty decent. It's not a terrible one, but it's definitely in that rating point. I think it's average 3 stars. My question is, what did you give it? That's the critics. So I'm saying I want to know from the fan.
I would give it a 3 to 3.5 stars. And
Okay.
I'll definitely add it to my collection when it comes out on DVD.
What do you think? Like I said, we get limited reviews. So overall, you was not disappointed with this movie.
No, no, no.
It did not. It did not put you to sleep like one did.
No. Well, no, one didn't put me to sleep. One still makes me cry.
It put me to sleep.
The
first half did, at least.
Had a film. I don't think I've had a single Pokemon film yet that I've seen that's put me to sleep. It might have been a bit slow paced, but it always picked up quite quickly. But that's just from memory.
But how would you rank this one out of the films you did see?
One of the top 5s that I would put on if I was just having a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because it has a happy ending.
Alright. Alright, so this one actually beat out Mewtwo. Or at least one of them, the movies, that is. Alright, so that's actually interesting. Again, we do not have a major release for this film. So you was very fortunate to get at the one theater that had that one screening. I did check the list. It does seem it is some theater that's taking it. 2 screens I saw on one. Only one on Sunday is showing that movie. So, yeah, like I said before, for those who don't know, there is a lot of Japanese animation that are released, but you got to find the theaters. These are not played everywhere. It's not AAA. It's not even B-listed. There's only certain select theaters. And like I said, if Kat hadn't told me about this, I wouldn't even know this movie existed. Will I give this film a shot? Absolutely. Or will I see the Japanese and American version? Most likely, yeah. I probably will see both versions because you'd be surprised how much the Japanese animation is different from the American version. That's just how it is. But like I said, it's these now Japanese. Like I didn't know it was a Gundam movie that came out a few months ago, and that's one of the most popular Japanese animations out there. So it's very, very limited reach. You have to find the right people, the right word of mouth. And that's the only way you're going to actually find out about it. But in any case, you had a fan who knew about it, kept track of it, just passed the word. She likes it. So anyone who's Pokemon fans out there, you got something to look forward to if it does come on video. So thank you very much for sharing this movie. I try to keep it spoiler free for you, so that way, because I know that you want to put no pressure on it. But eventually, you're going to have to spoil it when Johnson comes back, because I know that she's going to have fun listening to what you have to say.
Okay, I can I can read out my document if you want, because I wrote a bunch of notes down afterwards.
Oh, save the notes when Josh can get here, because I know Josh wants to hear every last word that you have to say when she comes back. She loves Animorphs. I know she loves Pokemon. She even though she tries to deny it. Let's just go right straight to the topic here. There's something that you can relate to. You like monster movies, or at least sci-fi to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know, like many other people, some people was a little bit, I don't know, maybe this will work after all. I didn't like Count Dracula. I didn't like Frankenstein. I didn't like The Mummy at one point. Basically, these old classic monster movies that has a strong tie with a lot of people. They still hold up today, even though they're in black and white. Universal Pictures, which actually owns the rights to these characters, wanted to do a universe. And they started to kick it off with The Mummy. It bombed. And because of the bomb that this film has, and it bombed hard, even with the star power it got, there is now circulating stories and confirmation from some of the producers that the Dark Universe may be in jeopardy. It may be canceled. It may be dead. And largely because a lot of the writers, or at least 2 of them, have bailed on the production. They just left. So that left the whole entire franchise in turmoil, especially when you think about the star power that this movie had. For what I understand, Angelina Jolie was supposed to play the Bride of Frankenstein. You had Johnny Depp, you had Harvey L. Bardem, you had a whole bunch of stars. Basically on board to do bring us this new take on these monster films, and now we don't even know if there will be another monster film, at least in the way they have shown. Now, keep in mind, this is not the only franchise in jeopardy. DC have announced they're about to do about Face. They're not canceling their plans, but they are pretty much making every film a standalone film. My question is, are you surprised to hear that this news about the Dark Universe, or are you kind of happy and hopefully they can just press the reset button and do it correctly? And what is your own definition of correctly? I'll talk about my opinion, but I'd like to hear your feelings as well. Do you even care about the Dark Universe? That's the whole thing I want to know.
The only thing that I've seen of the new Mummy is reviews. And I have not heard positive things about it. I have seen the first two original. Well, I say original, the Brendan Fraser mummies, but I barely remember them, so that doesn't help me at all. But I've not seen the Tom Cruise version, not heard good things about it, blah blah blah. So in terms of how to do it correctly, I would just take whatever the reviewers have said is wrong with it and just try to work off of that. But I would hope that they press the reset button if they had attempted to set up a universe and it's already crashed and burned before it started. I would say try again, please.
Here's my feeling about this. I do want them to press the reset button, but I want them to do it correctly. Here's the problem here. And this is not just them. It's not just with Universal. Columbia has this problem. DC has this problem. They want to do everything in one shot. They don't want to flush things out over a course of a few years. There shouldn't be no reason why Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde should be in the same playing field with the Mummy. The Mummy should have been its own film with its own premises, beginning, middle, and end. If you want to have Dr. Jekyll, put him in the same way you did Nick Fury at the very end, announcing there's something bigger going on than just their world, but keep every film by themselves. This big rush to put this whole big universe before having the main foundation there is you're never going to win that. You don't need star power. I think this is something that's been proven to make this franchise work. Tom Cruise is the biggest star you can probably get right now in terms of action films. How did that work for you guys? It didn't do too well. This goes the same with even the DC universe. I think they rushed to put this thing into light. They didn't flush out the main stories. And another thing about this, what does the old black and white monster films have that the newer ones don't have?
I think a week ago I would have been able to answer this, but my house has been so full of Pokemon. It had more practical effects. Things were taken more seriously. I think people just sort of had to be clever about how they did things.
Exactly. They didn't have the big budget. Those films from the old days, the black and white, were considered B-list films. They have to work with what little they have, and as a result, they became more creative. They focused on story. You actually had a connection. Even with Frankenstein being a perfect example, I was more interested in that than the monster, than the human beings. I thought the humans were more of a monster than the monster itself. They were more of an intimate connection between the audience and that what they were seeing. It was scary. It was deep. It was in depth. And that's the thing that I feel that they still hold weight. These films, this monster film, The Mummy, yeah, I'll be the first to admit, I love the first two Mummy films. I have a popcorn feel when I see The Mummy Returns. But these films that's coming out now, they don't have that. They're too busy focusing on visual and special effects. You can't rely on that alone. You need to have a flush out story. If I don't connect with these characters or the monsters that you're trying to portray, I'm gonna be turned off by it. I'm sorry, it's not gonna work. And That's the thing about it. I think that's really hurt. These were never the monster film that came out during those times. Would never was triple A film. They were B list films. There were films you go for a scare and take your friends and family, or mostly your girlfriend or friends to see just for entertainment. But they had creativities. They had something more of a grit to it. This film did not have that. Yeah, they got star power. And what else? That's it. Now you tell you can disagree with me if you don't want if you want to, Cat, but that's my feeling on
Plus,
that.
I think films nowadays kind of just want to show off what what we can do without technology now, and they don't like put that much heart into it, or or focus on the story. It's just kind of like, okay, we have a story that semi makes sense. Let's let's just get to the special effects now. That's the important bit.
Exactly, and that's what I felt when I saw the trailer for the Mummy. It just reminded me of the Brendan Fraser one. That's it. Yeah, I said there was no originality in this film, and no, behold, it was no originality in this film. None of the characters seemed good. A lot of it doesn't seem like they had a strong script to go with. Some of the stuff was being repeated. You can't work. It will never work. It will never work with a film like that. And I think that the thing about it is, again, this is a bait and attempt to try and cash in on what Marvel has done. Listen, let's be realistic here. Marvel is not perfect. There has some misses in their Marvel extended universe. But one thing was always consistent on was flushing out the movies as their own individual things. They had a theme. Each one of them did, and that's what makes it work so much. Yes, they had misses, but they're very few and far between. Even the Disney Star Wars trilogy, the Star Wars series that they're doing, they have some misses. And believe me, we're seeing the cracks of the Star Wars universe with the firing of the cast from the Han Solo movie to the firing of the director from the upcoming Episode 9. They have some cracks in the armor, but one thing they do have is they have better credibility of actually flushing out a story. So when those things happen, okay, they made a mistake. They know how to learn from their mistakes and move forward. That's why when people ask me why I wasn't so concerned about Disney's Star Wars universe, I said this is Disney. They have a proven track record. They'll be fine. All right, the movies will be fine. They may not be perfect, but they'll be fine. They know what they're doing. I feel that a
And it's
lot of
Disney.
exactly. So not to say Disney had some bad track records, but in terms of what they have done with their properties, with Star Wars and Marvel, I'll take them more so than any other company right now, from DC, Warner Brothers to Universal any day. Because again, unlike what Disney has been doing with their property, the studios have yet to grasp. They just want to throw a franchise, and the sake of one, just making money. That's all it is to it. They just want to throw it out there to make money and cash in. But two, they just want to do it without any kind of recognition that you need to have a foundation, a flushed out foundation. You just don't throw things and rush things, hope for the best, because it's gonna fail. That's why DC was forced to do their reset button, and that's why we have a situation where the Dark Universe may be dead. Do I want it to be killed off? No, off. But
I want to give it
understand,
a chance, but if
yeah,
they screw up the first impressions,
the first impression was screwed up from the trailer. I mean, but the thing about it is that now you need to really flush out what you're doing, and each film, I'm sorry to say this, has to be their own individual. They have to be their own stuff, and then do what the Avengers have done, what the Defenders have done. Have a situation where somehow, I don't know how you're gonna do it, all these monsters seem to come collide. Like, keep in mind also, Cat, this is not the first time they tried this.
I
You
did not
remember
know
Van
that.
Helsing? Yeah, Van Helsing.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. I know Van Helsing, but I didn't know that was actually connected to anything. I just thought that was just a random horror film. with, with vampires and werewolves. I knew nothing about it.
I try to
I was
forget
like
that
12 at
film.
the time.
Yeah, I try to forget that film because it was a total drop of the ball. You had a chance to give us an epic film featuring all the monster films, and it just failed. It's too much CGI, not enough strong depth to the story. I made a review of this movie, so I'm trying not to do it again, but this is not the first time they tried this. We understand the universe has the properties of all these monsters. Look, if you want to make a dark universe, do it, but flush out your story first. Have a blueprint of where you want this going. Don't just throw out everything at the screen and just hope for the best. Because here's the thing, um, the Mummy is just the reason why it's not a good foundation because number one, you showed what this film was going to be, and to me, that was never was the Monster Universe intent. That was never. That's not why people went to see these films. There was a lot more substance to the story than the effects. As cheesy as those effects were, those films are still remembered today for the gripping story, the horror elements, and just all around commitment to what they had to work with. That to me is a lot more than just throwing specs on the screen. And a perfect example of this, just look at Star Wars.
Hmm.
Was cheaply made when it came out in 1977. It only came out in 300 theaters. It's a phenomenon. All right, take a look at the prequels. And for the record, and I'll go on and say this: I don't have a problem with this. Put the prequels, but I understand why they were so seriously flawed because it did something that the other Star Wars did not do. It put more emphasis to effects and CGI than story. That's
Hmm.
why people were not happy with the prequels because the story was lacking. Even though I understand he brought something original, you can tell there was not good directing. You can tell there was not good dialogue. It just reached right there, and all you saw was this eye candy on the screen. That's why people was very very disappointed with the prequels, and that's why people are embracing just coming back to basics with the Force Awakening, and even with the Last Jedi, and even with Rogue One. It felt like the story is more flushed out. So if is the dialogue clunky at times, of course. I mean, we're talking about space wizards. You're gonna have that kind of situation here, but there has to be more substance to the story. What you're gonna do, and that's where I think Universal Pictures dropped the ball on. Now, I feel with the right directors, the right producers, and the right team, they can actually get this back on track. All right, and I think they can, but I think they need to understand that it ain't just the star powers and the special effects, but the story, the heart that goes within making these films that will make a difference of being a huge success or just an absolute waste of time. Kat, I'll give you the final word on what you feel about that, and then we'll move on to our final story.
I don't know what word to use. Um,
Use it when it comes to your heart.
I think I'm just gonna go with That's just gonna be my whole summary on the Dark Universe. Just
Have you seen any of the old black and white monster films?
The only one that comes to mind is The Fly.
Oh, I have
If that
yet to see
counts.
that. This
Oh,
technically,
okay. But I've seen.
I never seen that. I have
Um,
yet to see that film.
it's so sad. At least I found it sad. I didn't find it scary. I don't know why. But that's like the only one that I've seen. I've not seen the Jeff Goldblum version yet. I do plan on it if it comes on TV. But I've seen the old version and I just fell in love with it. I don't know why. Probably because of the heart that it was given and the heart that it took out of me. Let's put it that way. It
Hmm.
took my heart.
Hmm. So we're going to move right on, and I'm going to ask you, thing, how much in terms of I know star power is different in the UK than it is in the US, but how much have you been keeping track of the Weinstein allegations as well as other stars that have been coming out of nowhere of late?
I've been watching most every video that I've seen come up about it, so I'm sort of knowledged. Surprisingly.
Mm. Well,
Normally I don't keep up with this sort of thing, but I have been keeping sort of tabs on it.
well, here's the thing. It's been the studio's taking a big hit. There was a movie that came out so quietly. I forgot it actually came out. It didn't even make any money in the theaters, and many people are immediately pointing to the fact that it's because it has the Weinstein's name on it. But because of this, and I was kind of curious about this because when you see something like this happens, you kind of wonder how the domino effect is going to happen. And apparently, from what I understand, he ain't the only one that being accused of harassment. Apparently, George Takei has been accused, which he had flat out denied. You have Louis C.K., which came forward as well, has responded to it. You also have other stars that are being accused, producers, people who are supposed to be medical advisories to sports athletes. Even senators in our United States of America are being accused. So it is a huge backlash and a huge aftermath, and it's no coincidence that it's happening now. Many people have, of course, their own opinion. Many people are kind of shocked that this is coming out now. Why hasn't uh, why haven't this been come out earlier? Why is it still big news now? Um, you have a situation where uh, many people feel that these people should be held accountable for it, what they had done, because again, these allegations coming out and not one single charge has been done. Doesn't mean there's no investigation, but you now have the situation where a point where big stars are even speaking out against directors. Even the actress who plays Wonder Woman, according to some reports that coming out, are threatening to leave the Wonder Woman universe if a director, Brett Ratner, is fired. This is something that has been talked about. So this is very, very serious. It's been going on, and keep in mind, um, allegations that are being posted out there are very serious allegations. There's no question. But for a moviegoer, a person who likes to talk about movies, likes to talk about entertainment, I have to be pretty much in the middle. Not because I don't believe in the allegations that a lot of these people are saying. If this is true, and it's been proven true, uh, then the people responsible should heed the consequences. As simple as that. However, and I think you can revouch for this. How many times have we heard allegations that were just there, just to sake of being thrown there, and it hasn't been any proven or just plain much false. So we also got to keep in mind of that. Also keep in mind, we're talking about allegations that happened not 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 37 years ago. So who knows who's saying what and who is saying who? From what I understand, there have been some people who I was kind of surprised and shocked about, such as Kevin Spacey and even Lucy Kay, acknowledging their misdeeds. But they also are George Takei, who is openly gay, by the way, who is accused of harassing a person when he was in his teens, flat out denying this, saying he didn't do it. And you also have other people who are being accused and actually being sought charges on, even though we don't know the full aspect of what it is. So it really is a surprise. But then again, I have to ask myself, is this because a lot of these stars who are being accused, there was no charges because one, they have money, and we all know money can give you certain resources and powers that a normal person like me or you have. And two, is it just simply because the victims were just too afraid to show up because no one will take them seriously? Or is it a mixture of other things that I'm not pretty much aware of? Because again, this domino effect, I don't see it slowing down. And I do believe that as a moviegoer, as a person who follows entertainment, there's only so much that the fans as well as those who spend their hard-earned money watching these films can take before they say that enough is enough. Either show the press charge of them, or just leave it be. Because keep in mind, out of all the allegations, and despite what the Daily News says, there hasn't been any charges brought up. So again, if there's no charges being brought up and the prosecutor's not investigating, what's really the point of bringing this out?
Hmm. I think
I know I said a
that
lot.
it is. It's okay. I'm still processing it all. Um, I think it is a mixture of like everything. Really, like yes, they have money. Yes, they're more powerful, and yes, the ladies are probably gonna. Well, I say ladies, I mean victims, because you know there could be any gender. Um, the victims like are gonna be afraid of not being believed because that does happen quite a lot. Um, especially like when there have been like false, like proven false accusations, which doesn't help with the people who have true accusations to to say that they need help with. Um, and and I just kind of think that 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 like at least with technology now we have the ability to gain proof and evidence that something happened. So it is, or at least it should be easier to like,
No, no,
yeah. You see what I'm trying to say?
yeah, I know exactly what you're trying to say. Don't no, I'm hearing you loud and clear. My
Okay.
feeling is, what is you're from the UK, obviously, so the media coverage, and I say this because I want to keep in mind the media coverage tend to either over exaggerate the story or leave a lot of details out that otherwise we should know, but they don't do because again ratings. And this is one of the reasons why I have a big gripe with Daily News because they did show the pictures of these guys accused of it, and I'm like, well, have they been proven yet? Because again, allegations are just that. Like I said, George Takei, and I'm looking at a news article here in my slide right now, basically saying that he is stunned, surprised, and bewildered. And then when I see George Takei, everybody knows from Star Trek, he's a legend there. He even did some airtime with Howard Stern. You don't think Takei being involved in this yet? Here it is, and it says a day after a former model said Joe Takei had sexually assaulted him at 36 years of age. The Star Trek actor strongly denies any wrongdoing, saying he was shocked and bewildered by the former model allegations. Now, we also had a situation where we have a well-known star who came out and basically says, I may have made some advances towards this individual, and I'm talking about Kevin Spacey, and if he felt that it was inappropriate, I do deeply sorry, which led him not getting an award from, I think, from um, some ceremony, I believe, in Hollywood, but I haven't really gone deep into that yet, or the Academy. And there's even talk about him possibly even going to be, press charges on, but I have yet to see that. So
That doesn't make whatever happened to the victim any better. That doesn't
yes.
turn back time. They're still
hmm
left with that
So my
pain.
my so my feeling is, how did the media cover it from your end? I mean, did you even know that Kevin Spacey was accused of anything like this?
Only because I've been watching like Philip DeFranco on YouTube. So basically, I haven't been watching any like official news. I've basically just been watching like Philip DeFranco and Monday Matt on YouTube, and they're American, so I can't tell you how the media here handled it because I have no idea.
Well, that's something. Ellen Page had made some statements. I haven't seen what she said, but
Oh,
I
good God,
noticed.
yeah.
'Cause, so obviously you heard about that one. um,
She was
it's
basically outed without permission by I think her director,
mhm.
and and obviously that was like just horrendously humiliating for her. But that's the basic gist of it.
Yeah, so and it's the same person who they was being accused now, and again, we're seeing a pattern here. Like I said, if I go down the stroll, there's Joel Takei. You have someone from the Supergirl lineup being suspended. So this is not a isolated incident. We have a senator who who has basically, been accused of having a relationship with 14-year-olds. And this is the same guy who basically blasted, people who are, transgender and, who was just living a life he don't consider to be good, and basically said they were sinful and they shouldn't have the same rights as America. Yet he's doing this. So there's a whole lot of stuff being thrown out there. And I'm like, wow, we're really really have really goes on to scratch more and more surface. We have news personalities accused of these allegations. And here's the thing that is also troubling. This is from the Huffington Post about the senator Roy Moore, that's his name, from Alabama. Everybody knew he was dating high school girls, but nobody said anything. So in my
That just
feeling is,
makes
I'm
it
like,
seem normal. That's horrible.
that bothers me. I'm saying, wait a minute here. You're saying that everybody knew, but nobody said nothing. Nobody went to the police.
I don't know. If that was the case, that just makes it sound like it's normal, and that's just that just sounds horrible.
And that's the problem. Like, wait a minute. If you're telling me that before saying that these people knew, they're just as guilty, if not worse, than the guy who's being accused of. Because you had a chance to stop that right there in his track, and you chose not to.
Yeah, that's the bystander effect. That's not that ain't good. I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
say that ain't good. Just no.
And this is not, I'm saying it says that in this abbreviation, this is the former prosecutor who worked in Alabama with the GOP Senate nominee Roy Moore in the early '80s. Told CNN Saturday that it was a common knowledge that he dated teenage girls at that time. So again, and you know what? As shocking that sounds, that's some of it that wouldn't. It's this is a kind of we too powerful, so we can't say nothing attitude that allows this kind of stuff to continue to happen. Richard Dreyfuss also been accused, and Gary Gurdett has always also been accused of misconduct. Um, um, I'm gonna see an entertainment. There was a person who was suspended. What about suspended a Supergirl's showrunner for his alleged harassment suit. So this is going beyond from television to politics to movies. And again, the question is, one obviously is how much is it really is true, but most importantly, to why all of a sudden we're hearing it now, and how come we haven't heard it later on? My guess is again a little bit of mixture of everything. Money, obviously, fear, obviously, again, politicians probably bribe and bought out their victims, or are being scared of victim, or two, and again, it could be possible that some of these may be false allegations. But in any case, it cannot be good for the entertainment world, and one can only ask to do with this and how they're going to able to make sure this does not become an epidemic again, because there's going to be a backlash or a reaction from the studios, especially those who, let's be honest, have already gotten a bad rap for objectifying women in the wrong way in films, not giving women a stronger role in based not just in films but in TV, music industry, the big screen. How are they going to resolve this? Can they resolve this in your own feelings?
I flippin' hope so. That's. I don't want to like jinx anything, but I don't want to like make false hope. But I really hope so.
Hmm. Right, but that's one of the things I wanted to touch on. And kind of wish Josh was here, another one, because I know she had a lot to say. Um, yeah, that was the whole thing about it. Because this has been a crazy, almost a month, and it started with the Weinstein Weinstein. Nothing about that surprised me. We did talk about the Weinstein situation briefly, but now it's becoming pretty much uh, going full throttle with other allegations, and there. And again, you keep hearing, "Oh, he was afraid. The guys had too much power and everything else." And again, with the case of the center, the fact that people knew about it, it's just it scratched my head and saying you knew about it and you didn't do anything. That's the scary part about it. But again, if the prosecutor, from what they is, we're not going to pursue this, are not going to press charges. Like they are, obviously they're trying to get stuff on Weinstein, and for good reason, because they boxed that New York boxed that investigation. It's no other way to put it here. That was a bribe that prosecutor had, and that was led to him not doing his job right. But if these other allegations comes out and turn out that to be true, or most importantly, it is true, and the prosecution doesn't do anything about it, then was everything that the news report pointless, or do you think there's something more that we're not watching?
There's probably more hidden in the rafters that we don't know about.
Okay,
Honestly, there's like secrets with everything, so I would not be surprised if there's like more elsewhere.
okay. Like I said, I don't know how to accuse the UK report their news. I know I know it's a little bit different than what we reported it. So I'm kind of was kind of curious because I know when it comes to entertainment news, that's universal. All right, we got a lot of UK stars here in the United States. We have a lot of people. Surprisingly, we have a lot of Australian stars. I didn't even know Hugh Jackman was Australian, so I actually looked up his filmography. Very impressive list, by the way. And I was just kind of curious how they are addressing it. I do know that the Daily News on a witch hunt. That's one of the reasons why I do not like the Daily News too much because the one they can attach to something, whether it's true or not, they tend to go full frontal without actually hearing the evidence first. Because they call these guys monsters. It's like, wait, Georgia K, do we actually know that Georgia K actually did this? We're hearing one side of the story, we're not even hearing both sides of the stories, and he's not even been pressed charges yet. So Louis C.K., he's I believe confessed some of his dirty deeds during his young days. Kevin Spacey apologized for what didn't say he fully did it, but he apologized if that was the case. It's a lot of stuff going on here. But the point is, these are star powers that have power. They all have one thing in common. They do have the resources to fight off the situation. But I do believe that these allegations really mostly aim at ruining their careers, whether it's justified or not, than actually seeking justice. Because again, I have not, besides from the Weinstein situation, that's a whole different situation by itself. I don't see prosecutors actually, basically focusing their attention. The only people who are actually focusing their attention on these individuals is the media, including the guy from Alabama who has flat out denied any of these allegations. So that the media may be, playing with people's emotions on this because it is a very serious charge and people have very personal attachment to these when they hear charges like this.
Hmm.
You yourself, probably. Hard in thought.
I'm just gonna say meh and be done with that answer.
Man, and be done with that answer. All right, so and that's pretty much the only serious thing we're going to be talking about here today because we got a casting couch to do.
Ooh.
All right, so uh, and the casting couch, I decided to do a little test here. I was going to have Johnson do so because I know she has a lot to talk about with this casting couch. But the casting couch is actually from an 80s classic. If they decided, which they're not going to do, they already made it very crystal clear they're not going to do it. So we're going to have a little fun by putting this on here. If they decide to redo Back to the Future, a reboot, or or remake. I like to call it a remake, pretty much. What cast do you think will better fit this role? So I'm gonna pick from each cast. I'm only gonna stick with the following main cast: Biff Tannen. Uh, we're also going to talk about Marty McFly, Lorraine Baines, Lorraine McFly, Jennifer Parker. I'm going to be talking about those particular cast, including Doc Brown. I think the hardest one, I believe, is going to be Doc Brown and Marty McFly because you can't just cast anybody as Marty McFly and Doc Brown. You need to have the right people. They have to have the right chemistry. And for the record, they tried it without Michael J. Fox the first time, and it almost destroyed the film because they did took Stokes. Not to say that he's a bad actor. I've seen The Mask. He was great in it, but he's more of a serious actor than a comedic actor, and that's what you need in a situation. So I'm going to start with you first. I'm kind of curious how you have what you're going to be picked here. We're going to go backwards. Lorraine, which girl, which lady do you think could be best suited to play Marty's mom in the Back to the Future series? It could be anyone.
This includes the modern day and the 1985 version.
Yeah, like I said, we're gonna do a recasting. This is a reboot that would never happen, so we're having fun with this.
Okay. Now I've got to try and remember actress names. Crap. My
You're thinking hard
brain,
too.
Yeah, my brain is not cooperating.
You got Pokemon in your brain, that's why.
Yeah. I cast Misty. No, that doesn't work. Come on, brain, seriously. The only lady I can think of is you know the Narnia films?
Mm-hmm. The
The
older sister?
Yeah.
I know. I had a feeling I was like, all right. She said Nadia. I said the older sister. Why you feel her?
Because she seems like she would go well as a mother type when she has to, but then, I mean, I haven't really seen her in anything else, but I would assume that if she was going to be the floatier, younger version, she could probably maybe pull it off. I would have to see it in action to be able to judge it.
That's interesting. You actually remember her from the audio. She must have made quite an impression with you.
Yeah.
Well, I got one character. If I'm gonna go with someone, I will actually will have to say Emma Roberts.
Ooh.
Her as the role. I think she is the best suited fit. I think she's the right age. I think she can play a mother figure, but I also think she can actually still pull off the teenage type. I was actually tossing with Chloe Grace Moretz, but I think Chloe Grace Moretz is more of the action girl type. I love her in action films. I feel in terms of comedic role, she has played in teenage films before, so this is nothing new to her. And I feel that Chloe Grace will definitely play a good Lorraine Baines / Marty's mom in the reboot, if in the reboot that will never happen version. Biff Wilson. Oh, I say I almost say I'm actually got those two guys' name mixed up. Biff Tannen. Um, Very hard one to go with. I'll start first. I was actually really it was a lot of lists I had from playing Biff Tannen. I was actually I'm actually gonna go with a character that people are gonna hate my guts for, but I think he can pull it off. I think this will be a challenge for him, and I know people are gonna hate me for putting his name on there. Shia LaBeouf.
Oh God. As much as I quite like Shia, I'm not sure, but meh, whatever.
I think it is because I think he can play that role. I think for someone who has had look, there's no question that he has a lot of off-camera problems, arrests, disorderly conduct. I think he ruined his career in many ways in terms of how he dealt with it. But I think if you give him the right role, I think it could be fine. I think he can play it more than anything else. I'd take him over Patterson, that
Mm,
guy. I think he will definitely play the role very well, and I think he can play a period piece because he did Indiana Jones, and I thought he was pretty good in that one. I think people get on him for lots of the wrong reasons, but I think he can play that bully type and play it well. What's your feeling about it? I know you're gonna pick some nice, handsome guy. Go ahead.
Just to check, we're still talking about Biff Tannen, right?
hmm
First dude that popped up into my head was Taylor Lautner for some reason. He just looks like he could be a good bully type.
They got the build for it. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Honestly,
He haven't been in the movie since Missing. I'm wondering if he's still in movies because he hasn't been in the film since Missing.
I have no idea.
I don't even know you remember that film. But I nice to see him back in the screen.
I actually haven't seen him in anything. I just know the name, and I know that he was he was picked to be the Max Steel in the live action Max Steel movie, but that never came through. And I'm quite glad for it, actually.
I know what you're talking about. He overpriced himself. He really did. He told about bad agent. I would not mind. Honestly, I honestly wouldn't mind him being in there. I mean, he definitely, like I said, he definitely fit the role. He got the bill for it. I mean, I think Thomas Wilson, that's his name, who played Biff. He was big. He was huge. When I saw when he was messing with Marty's mother and and Marty grabbed him by the shirt and lifted him up, I'm wondering if that's just a camera angle or that's just actually how big he is. He looked humongous. I mean, my God. I'm doing a different approach. He's very, very huge. So, that was one of the hard ones. You know what? I didn't want to put him in here, but I got to put him in here. Mr. Strickland.
Oh, boy.
This is going to be interesting. My first thought, because of the similarities, was Patrick Stewart, but that would be too obvious.
Yeah, that's my first thought too. It's just like, scary bald guy, Patrick Stewart.
I want to go different with this. I'm actually going to go with Doc Brown first choice. People don't realize that Christopher Lloyd almost didn't do the film, and they actually had this character. He played into it. If I'm going to play old Strickland, I want James Wood to play him.
Ooh.
Because he definitely has that no-nonsense, commanding dialogue role. He can be that intimidating person. I've seen him in films, even in bad films. He would definitely have fun with that. The only other person I see him, but then again, that's just my own fanfare going on. I know that would never happen because, he's, I don't even know if he's doing films anymore, but I love seeing him in films, even in bad ones, because he makes the bad ones fun to watch. And that's Tim Curry. But I don't never see him playing that role. But if I got to pick the two, I got to pick James. All right. But I would not. James Woods playing Mr. Strickland would definitely be my fun role. He would not be a bald Strickland, obviously, but he would definitely have the voice of authority, and that's the thing you need. You need to have authoritative figure in that role. You picking Tim Curry? Hello?
Yeah.
Or why? I'm curious. I love Tim Curry.
What came into my head. Plus, I looked up the name James Wood because you said James Woods, and it turns out that my brain was thinking of Christopher Walken, so I don't know what my brain's on.
Okay. Well, Christopher Walken, if he's in the James Back to the Future film as Mr. Strickland, I'll just watch it. I don't care if the movie's bad. Just seeing him in there will be perfect for me because I think he does have his film ad-libbing. He never reads a script. Have you seen him in Saturday Night Live? If you can get it on the UK? I don't even know if he gets Saturday Night Live in the UK. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. It might be on older TV rerun channel, but I have no idea.
All right, here's the thing. I know you probably didn't get this. Look up on YouTube the show that he did with Peter Pan.
Ooh, okay.
That's gold because he actually forgot his line.
Oh, boy.
And Needless to say, it was the greatest flop. They tried to cover it up. I got to give them because it's one of those things they did, and I think ABC has done it and Fox done it. They have the shows. I have a better appreciation for those who do it live and pre-recording because doing it live, you got no margin for error. There's no okay cut take one. You doing it live, so you got to be on point. And he
One
did,
take.
and it was class because he was trying to remember that line. You can tell he was like, "Oh my god, I can't remember this line." Everybody was trying to help him, but it was classic. It was fun. Christopher
Oh, yep,
Walken.
yep.
So
I have the
you got to
30-second clip up on YouTube, but I will watch it later.
it's hilarious. And you got to tell me how you like it that week.
I
Um,
will.
I will say George McFly. Who do I want to play George McFly? Now, honestly, this is a hard one for me because I honestly, when I look at how Kristen Glover did his role, I don't see nobody else playing that role but Kristen Glover, and that's kind of sad because he hates Back to the Future now. He can't stand
Oh,
that movie. Yeah, he sued him so for using their likeness. That's how much he hated that film.
oh wow.
Yeah, he did. He won too. That was in Back to the Future 2. They used his likeness without his permission, and they changed the rules big time because of that.
Whoops.
I, you know what? I have to say, if I'm gonna go with a young star, but I don't know if he can pull it off. I would say the guy who played Twilight,
Robert
Edward, but
Pattinson.
yeah, I don't know if he can pull the nerd part. That's the
Hmm.
problem. I can't see him pulling it off. I can see Will Smith's son doing it, but he's way too young to play the pops. Um, if Charlie Sheen was young, he probably could pull it off if he was young. Uh, this one is a good one. I will have to go if I don't even know if he's acting. Um, the kid who played in The Sixth Sense.
Oh, Haley Joel Osment.
Yes, I
Wow, I
see
actually named
him.
an actor.
I don't even know if he's still alive. I know he's been in a couple films since Sixth Sense, but I don't know if he's in any other major roles. But I can see him playing it. I also see the guy who played in Kick Ass.
Oh, I don't know
Yeah, I
his
see
name, but
those.
I think I know who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, the one who played Kick Ass. I see him. I don't know if this kid could pull it off. The guy who played in the film that I don't know why people love. The most nerdiest guy in the world. He had a curly hair and glasses. I can't get this name now for some reason, and his name in his movie constantly comes up as revolutionary. Those are the only three I can see. But if I gotta pick Osmond because he can play. I can think he can play both range, and I think he can play the father as much as possible. I'd like to know what your feeling is.
I'd like to see him try.
At least
I
try.
did. Yeah. I did have a name earlier and a face earlier, but it's just gone now. So, um, if I get it back, I will let you know. But I think it's gone
Hmm.
cookies.
What's your pick?
I don't remember. Um,
That you do. All the handsome guys in their 20s. You can pick one.
okay. In that case, um, I'm gonna go with um, just first person in my head, Freddie Highmore.
Okay. Well,
Unless
so
we're gonna use that for Marty, I'm not entirely sure.
well, I'm gonna let that lead it to you. You're picking the guy. I already know who my Marty is, and you're gonna be shocked who he is. You're gonna be shocked
Uh,
at who he is.
hmm. I think I might leave Freddie Highmore for Marty. I'm not too sure who to pick for
Okay.
his dad. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay. So let's go with Jennifer Parker. I already know who I got, so I'm kind of curious what you think. I'm gonna leave mine secondary.
Ooh. Girlfriend.
I don't think you remember this actress.
I can visualize her, but I couldn't tell you her name.
What movie she was in?
Hmm. Brain, come on, please, I need you.
Got that Pokemon in your head.
Pokemon, get out! I don't choose you, get out. Okay, who would I pick for her? Hang on, let me just YouTube this thing.
That's why
Oh
we
gosh.
use YouTube.
Wow. No, this pick is way too old. Let me just have a think. Do I know anyone from here? That's my next question. Who has not been in Narnia? That's my current question. Why is my brain on Narnia?
Because you love watching that show.
Yeah. Has anyone been in Doctor Who that I would pick? Come on, mate. There's got to be someone. No, my brain is failing me right now. How about maybe the main character from Hunger Games, that actress?
Oh, Jennifer Lawrence?
Maybe?
You
Yep.
think Jennifer Lawrence? Really? you really I'm surprised. Jennifer Lawrence? All right, I see that. That's all right. Why Jennifer Lawrence? Although she's beautiful, that's one.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe she could use a break with a bit of a calmer film every now and then. I think she could do well. I'm gonna assume that she could do good with a serious girlfriend role.
Okay, that's not bad. I'm actually kind of glad you brought that in there. Okay, so I'm gonna give you mine. You probably never seen this movie, but I think she is definitely suited to play this role. I actually was debating whether to give her the role as Marty's mom, but I felt that she would be good as Marty's girlfriend, and that's Haley Steinfeld.
Oh, how'd you spell
She
that
is.
surname? Haley.
I may say her
Haley
name
which one?
wrong. Keep that. She look up the movie True Grit. She starred in True Grit, and she's one of the youngest actresses who ever got
Haley
best of got nominated.
Steinfeld?
What's her name
Is
again?
that Haley Steinfeld is what's coming up here?
Yeah.
Okay, give us a sec. Oh, yeah.
So that's a character I definitely felt that she can play it. But I feel that she definitely can pull it off. She is. I think she's right now in Pinch Perfect 3. I didn't even know they was actually doing a third one. So obviously a lot of people like this this Pinch Perfect movie. So I feel that she definitely can pull it off. I think she has definitely got the acting chops. She can be comedic at times. So I'm definitely looking forward. I can't say looking forward because she ain't gonna be in the movie. There ain't gonna be no movie. But if they was, I would be more happy to see her play it in the like of it being Jennifer Parker or Marty McFly's mom. Now let's get on to Marty McFly stuff. Now you said you was gonna put Marty instead of Marty's dad. Why? How come? She's
Um, I'm not entirely sure if Freddy can like go proper nerdy, but I could be wrong on that because it's been a while since I've really seen him bleh. It's been a while since I've seen him um in anything, but I have seen him in quite a lot, and I just don't really properly see him as a proper nerdy type.
hmm Well, there are two actors I sense that can do the pull off. One actor I think will not pull it off because one, I think he is focusing a lot more on serious drama, and he made quite a name for himself in stage and in theater because he's done a lot of great things since leaving the Harry Potter universe as Daniel Wycliffe. However, he's not my first choice. My first choice, and I think people are going to be stunned for me saying this, is Jeffrey or Joffrey, whatever you want to call him, in the Game of Thrones.
Oh,
I
okay then.
think he definitely got what it takes to do it. I'm not going with American actors, but I feel that Joffrey definitely could pull the chops. And I wouldn't mind if they him seeing his range because again the series is coming to an end and his character Finn died a long time ago, but it'd be nice to see him step into something else that is different, and I think he can pull it off as Marty McFly.
Hmm. I kind of think
Now,
that Daniel Radcliffe would probably do better
mhm.
as the dad because I'm just used to him looking nerdy.
Now the question comes: who plays Doc Brown? Notice I left him last because he is the hardest one to actually, at least I feel, to actually be put into this list. Doc Brown, Dr. Emmett Laveris Brown. Who can play it other than Christopher Lloyd? Because I think nobody else can play it but Christopher Lloyd. But
If we
but
absolutely
he's
had
not.
to,
Mhm.
well, well,
The
I
question
say that,
is,
and then it's just kind of, well, we do have to because I think he's dead.
mhm,
Crap.
mhm. who can come in and fill up that part of being the doctor? Who can actually do it? I'm gonna go with another British actor, and I think you'd be stunned as to hear me say this, but I think he'd be definitely good in it. And I think he had the experience to do it because he played in the show, technically playing the Doctor himself. Tanner. I'm
Of
just calling him by his
course.
last.
Yes.
Tanner. That's it.
Yes.
So,
All votes go to Tennant.
so I think he definitely plays that part. I think he fits the role. He's doing great as Scrooge McDuck in DuckTales. I actually like his portrayal, and I think he will play a great Doc Brown. I think he definitely can pull it off, and I think people underestimate that he has been in a lot of multi roles before the Doctor and even after the Doctor. So I would love to see him, pick up where he'll be a young Doc Brown, but he would definitely be more fun to watch. And I'm actually would welcome the time when they say, okay, Doc Brown is not being played by the former Doctor Who. Your pick.
I don't have one yet. I'm still thinking. Um,
hmm
I'm just, I'm just trying to sort of match faces to names. Um, um, who's the dude that plays Magneto?
Oh, you're talking about which one, the new one or the old one?
The old one.
You're talking about Michael Fassbender
Uh,
or the other guy?
I think I'm talking about the other dude.
Okay, the old guy. I forgot his name, but I would not mind to see him doing it. I never see
Hang
him in
on,
comedy though.
hang on. X Men 2000. Magneto. I cannot type with one hand. Yes, that's the person. What's his name? Ian McKellen, maybe?
Uh-huh.
Is he
Ian
still
McKellen
alive? I
as
forget.
alive. He ain't going nowhere. He's
Um,
still alive. He's still doing performances.
I
I
would
wouldn't
pick
mind
Ian
seeing him
McKellen
doing
then.
that. Yeah, he played Magneto, which I was kind of surprised. So I wouldn't mind seeing him doing that. So it's definitely going to be interesting. Like I said, this is not going to happen. And we know that this is all for fun. But I actually, that's the only. Which, by the way, I'm kind of curious. Did you find out about the Back to the Future Broadway show that's supposed to be playing in the UK? We mentioned this before.
I still need to look that up. Thank you for reminding me.
um, but yeah, this is not going to happen. The producers have pretty much made it very clear that they are not making another trilogy of the Back to the Future. The closest we ever got was the video game. That was Back to the Future 4. I accepted it, and it's actually, as Turn of the Toilet is actually a fun look at. It follows it faithfully. I'm leaving it at that. But again, that's just how it is. Um, and to me, casting couches are just like this. For all we know, they may just have a whole new cast we never seen before, even if they do decide to go with it. But again, trilogies that has not had another sequel or another opportunity, and I think and honestly, I'm kind of happy with that because one, they had a beginning, which was supposed to be the ending, but they continue on with 2 and 3, and I think they ended it the way they should have ended it. And so having a movie version at least of 4, I think we'd be pushing a little bit. But if they do go for it, I'm kind of curious how they would do it. New young actors, following the old. All I got to say about that. Kat, are you having any special promotions you want to talk about in terms of your YouTube channel or just in writing in general? Do you like to share with the audience?
Uh, I did recently upload a new video onto it, a full hour length audio play, not written by me, but I did help to make it. Should I promote my channel again?
Go ahead.
Okay. Rodent, road as in what the cars drive on, Rodent 1241. I still plan on changing it in the future, but that's what it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
if you
so,
sorry.
go ahead. I thought you were finished. Go ahead.
So if you wanna listen to like audio plays, that's where I'm looking to make and put them on.
Okay. I'm just surprised they're playing Boy George in this cafe, but I haven't. This has been a while since I heard Boy George's music. They play my favorite one. All right. So besides Boy George's side, we will be returning next week, hopefully with Josh again, unless some crazy thing happens, which I'm hoping, cross my fingers, that does not happen. And as always, we will be posting. For those who wonder why I haven't posted anything in Matic Expression yet, because I have episodes I haven't posted there. It's done on purpose because I like to have this channel promoted first before I put anything else on the other channels, and then it will just filter out. But don't worry, you're still going to get it. It's pretty much just precaution. In any case, I will be returning with a special review of a BBC special that got me hooked on Sherlock Holmes because I wasn't a Sherlock Holmes fan until about 5 years ago. Didn't care about the series, didn't care about the character. Um, until I saw a biography about Arthur Conan Doyle, who he was inspired by, and then I saw not one but 4 specials, including the movie that inspired this 4 specials about the Sherlock Holmes thing. And we're going to be talking about some stuff about Victorian authors, including some of their dark passes, because I don't know if we realize it. A lot of authors, even today, have very dark secrets that is, if you probably would have known back then, probably would have stopped you from reading their books, including Winnie the Pooh, which has a movie out called Goodbye Christopher Robins.
Oh.
So we're going to be studying a little bit of that, talk about these book authors, and also is there some truth to the fact is that some of these authors do harbor some dark pasts, and that makes their books more genuine. Um,
Ooh.
we're also going to be talking about James Patterson, the famous
Ooh.
Alice Cross writer. And why there seem to be a lot of people who don't like his work. I was kind of surprised considering he is the master of the short chapters. So we'll talk about that. We
I
also
know my
got our
dad's
top.
a fan.
Oh, good. So you can actually interview him about that. So we got some stuff to talk. We got lots of stuff to do, and plus we have a topic that we haven't done yet because Josh can worn herself out with that last podcast she did on Saturday yesterday, and so she could do it today. So we're talking about that. But that's all for next week. We will be with us next week, of course.
Mhm. And I'm
What
looking
you doing?
forward to it. Sorry,
So
my uncle's
again,
moving stuff.
okay. So until next time, guys, it's J787 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.